everyone, welcome back. So our 2023-2024 season previews continue on today with the Detroit Red Wings. So the Red Wings, obviously a very interesting team. They're starting that stage where they're out of the really bad, parts of the rebuild, and they're starting to go towards, being a contending team again. And honestly, if you ask me the question, are they there yet? I would say probably not, if we're being brutally honest. But regardless, last season in 22-23, they went 35, 37, and 10 for 80 points. They were 25th in the NHL, and they missed the playoffs. Obviously, it was a year where Detroit was expected to be better, and they were on some level. But still, they didn't come close to a playoff spot, which stinks. But hey, they've become an 80-point team now, which I think is a good number. And I think next year they could get, even closer to a playoff spot. They were in the race for a little bit there. They just couldn't keep up. A lot of problems they faced, but they did address some of them during this offseason. Your departures list goes as follows. You have Dominik Kubalik, Alex Nedeljkovic, P.S. Sutter, Adam Ernie, Jonathan Osterley, Jordan Osterley, and then you got Robert Haig and Philip Zadina. So let's talk about a few of those players there. Kubalik, obviously was a good middle six forward. You had to trade him to get one of the top guys. Nedeljkovic was a good backup goalie. He's no longer there. Sutter was an all right fourth line center. Ernie, kind of the same thing. Osterley was a good depth defenseman, but he's obviously gone now. Robert Haig was a good, third pairing guy. Wasn't the best, but was a solid third pairing defensive defender. And then you got Philip Zadina, who was, if we're being honest, it just didn't work out in Detroit. We'll see how he does in San Jose, but it just didn't work out with Detroit the way they wanted it to, which is unfortunate, but in this world it happens. So you got to go through it. Your rivals list goes as follows. You have Alex DeBrincat, JT Comfer, Daniel Sprong, Christian Fischer, Jeff Petrie, Shane Gostisbehere, Justin Hall, James Reimer, and Alex Lyon. So they addressed a few things here. They addressed the fact that they lack goal scoring. That was a big thing they lacked throughout all of last season, basically. And getting a guy like DeBrincat, who although had a down year in Ottawa, I really do think he has the upside of playing with Larkin and probably Lucas Raymond. He's going to have a good shot at scoring, 40 to 45 goals. I think it could be really realistic for him. And that goes a long way for Detroit. Absolutely. You need a goal scorer like that. And they lacked that last season. You get Comfer, a good second or third line center, depending on how they want to roll with that. I would imagine second line. Daniel Sprong, a good third line forward. Christian Fischer is a good depth forward. Petrie, solid, not terrible there on that blue line. Gostisbehere, I've always liked Gostisbehere. Will be a good probably second pairing, maybe third pairing guy on Detroit. Then you got Justin Hall, who probably the same thing, and then Alex Lyon, a good third string goalie, and then Reimer also a solid backup. So they addressed some things here. They addressed the fact that they need a backup goalie. They got James Reimer. They addressed the fact that they need some defense. They got Hall, Gostisbehere, and Petrie. Obviously, a lot of those deals are kind of short term, so we'll see how they go, if we're being honest. But regardless, your lineup here now, which is via the Hockey News, so don't come at me for these lines. They aren't mine. I'm just running off of that because honestly, and I said this before in videos, I cannot watch every team. I try and watch every team, but I can't watch every team. I can't see how the lines are going to be and stuff and such. So I base it off of the Hockey News. Don't come at me for these lines. If you want to go at someone, go at the Hockey News. But regardless, the lineup goes as follows. You got Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond as your first line. Then you got David Perron, JT Comfer, and Robbie Fabry as your top six. So not a bad top six. Great first line there of DeBrincat, Raymond, and Larkin. That's going to go a long way for Detroit for sure. Absolutely, I love that first line. As I mentioned, DeBrincat has the upside of scoring maybe even 40 goals. So definitely good to see that. Get a guy like that on your roster. Not that bad of a second line. Perron's a good player, getting up there in age, but still a solid guy. Comfort will be a good second line center for sure. And then as well as that too, Fabry, a good, top six second line player. Your bottom six goes as follows. You have Michael Rasmussen, Andrew Kopp, not Joe Veleno yet, and Daniel Sprong. Then you have Klim Kostin, then Joe Veleno, and Christian Fischer. Then for some extra players, you have Jonathan Berggren, Marco Kasper, and Matt Luff. So I'll start off with Kasper. There is a good possibility that he can make some time in the NHL this coming year. He's going to try out in camp, see how he does. Honestly, he could get that fourth line center role over Veleno for sure, but obviously we'll see if that happens come training camp. There's a lot of questions surrounding a lot of teams, so it really all is going to depend on that. But regardless, the bottom six is solid. I like Kopp there on that third line. Same with Sprong. Costin, they acquired him as well. I don't know why I didn't mention him. Or did I mention him? No, I didn't. I missed him. Apologies. He was an arrival too. That's my fault. I don't know. I completely missed him. But yeah, Costin, good fourth line guy, was a fan favorite at Edmonton, but can do some good grit, secondary scoring. But yeah, overall, that's not that bad of a bottom six. Your defense is where I'm like, I don't know. You got Jake Wallman and Moritz Seider as your first pairing. Then you got Ben Sherrod and Jeff Petrie as your second pairing. Oh my God. And then you got Shane Gostisbehere and Justin Hall as your third pairing. And then you have Olli Mata and Jared McIsaac as extra players. So, yeah, I'm going to be honest. Outside of that first pairing, it's kind of, no. Because Sherrod has struggled. Petrie struggled in Pittsburgh. Or was it Pittsburgh? Yeah, Pittsburgh. And Ghost is a solid guy, definitely. I think he's probably one of the better guys on that defense. But Hall also had his problems in Toronto, too. So, really, that's my biggest X factor is the defense, honestly. And you could even argue goaltending too, but I'm going to go with defense here. If guys like Sherrod and Petrie, if they click together, because I've heard they've had good chemistry, if that happens, then yeah, maybe the defense will be better. But honestly, it just doesn't look so good with those guys on that blue line. But regardless, I could be wrong. I may be wrong. We'll find out, obviously. And then your goaltending goes as follows. You have Ville Husso and James Reimer as your tandem. Then you got Alex Lyon as your third-string goalie. I like that tandem. Husso, definitely going to have a better year, I feel like. Some fans are a little bit harsh on him because of how he played last year, but I think he could have a better year. Goalies are like a weird thing. They go on different paths. So honestly, I wouldn't be too worried about Husso. Reimer, solid backup goalie. He's getting up there in age, but still can be decent. Then Alex Lyon there too. I imagine it'll be a battle for that backup spot with Reimer and Lyon for sure. My biggest question is just playoffs. I mean, are they going to make the playoffs this year? Some Red Wings fans think they will. Some Red Wings fans think they don't. Personally, I'm not a Red Wings fan. Personally, I don't think so. I think in a competitive Atlantic Division where you have three teams on the rise, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, then you got a few teams that are going to be good like Tampa Bay, Toronto, and then you got teams that are in weird spots like Florida, Boston, and then you have Montreal. So, honestly, I can't see it. I can't see them finishing over, a team like Ottawa who has a very improved defense and maybe questionable goaltending. And then you got Buffalo, too, who's kind of in the same situation. And then you got teams like, Tampa Bay, Toronto. That's going to be your 1-2 seed most likely. Then you're going to be battling for that third spot and those wild cards. So, obviously, we'll find out. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong about what happens, but I just can't see them making the playoffs this year, unfortunately. It just isn't in the cards for them, which stinks, but it is what it is. It's part of the rebuild. Your point projections here go as follows per the Hockey News' fantasy guide. You got Dylan Larkin in first with 86, DeBrincat in second with 68, Raymond in third with 67, Perron in fourth with 57, and then Seider in fifth with 47. So I like those stats there. Seider, I feel like will have a better year than 47, but obviously we'll find out. Your sleeper or your bust is Jonathan Berggren. The Wings called out Berggren on an emergency loan in November, and his outstanding playmaking ability kept him in the lineup for the rest of the season. He'll be relied on upon the scoring on a team desperate for offense. Yeah, even though I had Berggren out of the lineup there, I feel like it's very possible he does make the team because he was an unexpected guy who came, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but kind of came I guess out of nowhere to put up some solid offense there for Detroit, and he's going to be relied on a little bit there for secondary scoring because he's probably going to be playing a bottom six role. But yeah, that is my 23-24 season preview for your Detroit Red Wings. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, they're a team that probably shouldn't make the playoffs this year, but it's just another step towards being a playoff team. So yeah, thank you all for watching. We got the Hurricanes tomorrow, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.